Welcome to Airhead Bar. My name is Damir Senic. Airhead Bar is a small shop in Boulder, Colorado dedicated to restorations, repairs and maintenance of BMW Airheads. Our goal is to bring these beautiful bikes back to road in its original shape. So basically you won't see here some major alterations of a design in a cafe racer style, because honestly Airheads are already perfect in its original shape. So here with me we have our upcoming project. It's 1977 BMW R75/7. Bike was purchased here locally in Lakewood, Colorado. Previous owner did very well with maintaining the bike, but being almost 45 years old, it starts showing some of its age and it's time to do full restoration. The plan is to present, as I said, full restoration of this bike in a dozen of very informative videos. Those will be presented and available in two different versions. One will be like a full video version that people could use for educational purposes, and another that will be uploaded is a shorter or time-lapsed version for those people that either don't have time or interest in watching the full version, so they could also watch that one, and that would be mostly for entertaining purposes. So without further ado, let's switch gears and jump on this project. Okay, so we are going to start this project by draining fluids in a bike. Normally what you would do is to take a bike for a short spin around the block, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes to warm everything up, and then those fluids should drain more easily. Since what we are going to do here is like full restoration, we don't care too much about that, so we don't need to warm the engine. We will just proceed with fluid drains. So when you drain it, some of these have magnet on a plug, essentially. So I believe that a final drive and gearbox have magnets. On a magnet, magnet is there to collect some of the material or residual material that comes, from the engine. What you don't want to see here is actually like big shavings, big pieces of metal that is, inclusion that something is going wrong. Sludge is fine, so metallic sludge I can actually show you how it looks like. Okay, so here it is. So if you look here, so it's just sludge, no metal pieces at all. I have some gas in the tank, so I should drain it as well. Let's see how that will work. So after draining all fluids, it's time to go with disassembly. Usually how I work with these motorcycles, I start from the back and then I have really nice flow moving up front. This is how we are going to do it now as well. So first we will start with the exhaust. The most challenging part with removing exhaust is always moving the exhaust nut, because those are notorious for seizing. We will see if we are lucky this time. We are not going to push it that hard. If it's actually seized, then we will need to cut it with a Dremel tool. Hopefully it won't be necessary, so we will give it a try. After removing the exhaust, we will proceed of loosening these nuts that go between drive shaft and final drive. And what is very important, while you have rear wheel on and a working brake, we are going to remove this boot that is between drive shaft and the gearbox output shaft. We are going to loosen those four bolts as well. We will use a rear brake for that. You can also put it in first gear, do it that way, but I believe it's easier if you use rear brake. So let's continue. In order to remove exhaust nut, you need to have a special wrench. I can leave a link in the description. Basically, you can find it almost to buy it anywhere, but you won't be able to do it without this special tool. Okay, so fingers crossed, and let's see what's going to happen here. Okay, this one actually is not stuck at all. It seems someone was removing it before, and what is even more important, using anti-seize. That's very, very important for these nuts. Okay, perfect. Yeah, this exhaust, it seems it was previously changed. It does not seem original, especially headers here. These are kind of cheap headers, and chrome actually started showing some bubbles. When I have it off, I'm actually bringing it closer to camera, so we will need to replace that and try to get some better parts. Mufflers looking in pretty decent shape. Hopefully they will go out smoothly, but let's see. So let's go on the other side. Okay, this one goes out as well. Terrific. So no problem there at all. Okay, exhaust is out. Now we need to find a way how to remove it. Okay, and it's out. Okay. For now we are just going to loosen these 4 bolts, but honestly they are not tight at all, at least not the first one, so I have no idea why. Usually they are much tighter. Second one, yeah, goes very easy. Out. Third one. And finally fourth one. This one required a bit more fiddling. There is a C-clip here. Let me see, is there any more? No. That's it. Should slide down. Okay, one shock is out. This is cone shock, so these are rebuildable. We will try to actually rebuild this shock. Okay. tires are brand new, so we are going to keep them. Just clean wheels and probably change bearings. Yeah, so these have crush washer actually. New design comes with Loctite. Okay. We are going to throw them away anyway because you always need to put new whenever you are doing this work. So if we didn't loosen them while we had a brake and a real wheel, it would be really hard to keep this solid. We'll need to find a way how to block it actually. This way it was much easier. And the fourth one. Always the hardest one because it's not separating. Okay, so here it is, 27mm thin wall socket that is used to remove the lock nut of a swing arm. Greased really well. Unfortunately, this is when my audio cut out. So I'm going to use a narration here and explain the next work that I did. Basically, I removed gas tank, both carbs, airbox, gearbox, and clutch at the end. I'm going to put video on a time lapse so it goes a bit faster, and when it's necessary I'll switch to normal speed and use narration. So the next step is to remove clutch. Here I'm using this tool to block flywheel so it does not spin, and so I can remove bolts or loosen bolts that are that hold clutch into place. In order to remove clutch on all airheads until 81, essentially you will need to use longer bolts and nuts. The way how you do it is essentially you remove 3 bolts like Mercedes Star, and it's 3 factory bolts, and then instead of them you use these longer bolts with nuts, which you screw all the way in. Once they are all the way in and they hold the clutch properly in place, you can actually proceed with removing the remaining 3 factory bolts. After that, you slowly unscrew nuts on a longer bolts until clutch is completely free. Just to mention that airheads 81 and newer don't need the longer bolts. You can basically just unscrew slowly all 6 bolts regular factory, and clutch will be set free. So with this I would like to conclude with first episode. We made a pretty good progress here with this bike, and then in the next episode I hope we will do inspection of that clutch, we will do leak down test of the engine, and then proceed with engine disassembly. Thank you, and stay tuned for the upcoming restorations.